All right, we're live. Hello and welcome to the Enlightenment Exchange. Today we're going to talk about a little something different, I think. I don't think we've gone here before, but the idea of wisdom. And does wisdom come with age? And is youth wasted on the young? And, all of those sort of topics that kind of roll into the idea that um, well, we just get wiser as we get older, and that is one of the gifts of aging, is that wisdom, I think. So, um, say hello to John and Melanie, all of you who
Hi.
really can't answer because we can't hear you. But so this is something that I have done in the past, and I'm curious if either of you have. Um, I have a timeline of my life, and I know where the zigs and the zags are, and I know because I did this, this happened, and because I did that. So I know exactly why I am here based on choices and actions all the way back to choices and actions my parents made and take. Have either of you done such a thing?
Not in the level of detail that you have. I know the major events that should I go here or there, and you decide on one, and then everything kind of leads to the next choice or decision from there. The major ones I know, but not.
Yeah.
I don't think the details.
Yeah, same. I haven't done it in detail, but I'm like, oh, I see where I could have made a better decision there.
Right.
Or,
Or
oh, I made a great decision
yeah.
there.
Or who would have thought that by making that decision, I would have met so and
Right.
so who
Yeah.
is like so important in my life right now.
Well,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
for me, many of those points are failures. And
Same.
I look at the failures with gratitude, not that I could have
Mhm.
made a better decision, but simply that if I had made a different decision, then I wouldn't be where I am. So, oh, here we go. Coventina can't find the link, I think. I will take care of that while we're talking. And
Sure. Well,
well,
I have one decision that was a regret for many years, and now it's not. So
Mhm.
way back when I was a programmer, um, quite a few of my coworkers at one particular company all moved to California for the dot-com gold rush, and I would say every one of them did extremely well. And I chose to stay in my own little hometown in Michigan, kind of regretting that decision on many years. And then now looking back, realizing that the people I met here and people I met because I stayed here are the ones that I was supposed to meet for, the
Mhm.
spiritual growth and enlightenment and all that. I suspect if I had gone to California and become stinking rich, I probably would not have gone through a spiritual awakening.
Mhm.
and you know, what you think is that you would have become stinking rich, but it's not a guarantee. You know
No,
what I mean? Like you
yeah,
don't
that's
know.
true. That's true.
And what's interesting, John, you're going to find this really interesting because one of the biggest ones on my timeline, and mostly because John, you and I have talked a lot more. That's all. Um, is that one of the biggest ones on my timeline is I became a Mary Kay consultant.
That's awesome.
Now, knowing what you know about me, that I had no business doing that, right? Like, I just had no business doing that. I hate
Mhm.
sales. I'm not a salesperson. I hate salespeople.
Right.
I don't want any part of it. Like, I mean, if you're Radley Valentine, just tell me how much, I'll hand it over.
Right.
But
Yep. Yep.
that's a different thing. That's a different thing altogether.
And he's
Um,
not a salesman. He's not salesy
he's
Right.
absolutely not a
at
salesman.
all.
He's
Yeah.
brilliant. But
Right.
beside the point. But if I hadn't done that, I would not have met this particular person who was pivotal in our geographical location, which was pivotal in my journey in the tax business, which also was pivotal in my journey of meeting the people that I met that led me where I'm sitting right in this very moment. So
Hmm.
it's crazy when
Yeah.
you really
Yeah.
look at it.
Those little stepping stones.
And so I think that the point of bringing that up in a show where we want to talk about wisdom is that you need to acquire that wisdom to be able to look backwards and say, I did the best I could with what I had. And the choice ultimately led me where I am. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that. Like I think wisdom is hard, or compassion is harder to have when you don't have wisdom. It's harder to have compassion for yourself if you don't have the wisdom. I mean, when you're younger, I was really hard on myself when I was younger, and it's because I didn't know any different. And
That's
it's because
interesting.
I wasn't.
That's profound, Angie. You can't have compassion until you have some wisdom.
Covington was also a Mary Kay consultant. That's so funny.
Well, that is funny.
I used a lot of Mary Kay.
I wonder how much Mary Kay she had to put in the trash when she quit. How much expired cosmetics went in the trash.
I did Amway, if that helps.
Oh my gosh, I did that too. Oh, that was.
I did Avon.
That's different. That's just different. Wow. That's just different. Amway is like, whoa.
Yeah, Amway, they're the king.
My mom did Amway.
Wow.
Did you make any money?
No. We had a lot of Amway products though. Like, what was that? Basic H. That's all that we could clean with. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and SA8, the laundry soap.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's all we were allowed to clean with.
Boy, those are the days, right?
Fun times.
Although, if I remember correctly, weren't they earth friendly for the time?
They are. Yeah.
They were, yeah. Actually, I don't have any bones about the products themselves. They were pretty good.
No,
products.
it's just strategy. I mean, this is good. It's not the teaching that's the problem. It's the organization.
Right. Yeah.
What does that remind you of? Anyway, okay. So
I see what you're going at there. That's really interesting, Ange. That's a parallel I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, I'm on fire today, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyway, yeah. So that was kind of where I wanted to start with the wisdom thing, but I really want these conversations to be kind of back where we were in the beginning and more fun and less. I just want them to be more fun. So I got some really cool questions for all of us. So, and John, I know you must have an outstanding answer to this. What is one surprising or funny lesson about life or spirituality you've learned as you've gotten older?
Well, I guess.
And think about it too, Melanie, while you're at it.
Here's the main one. And that is that other people's opinions don't really matter. Right. So when you're young, those opinions of people around you, your peers, those other kids, that hurts when they tease, when they say stuff about you. And the thing that when I realized when I got older, I'm like, you know what? I actually don't have to listen to it. And I can even stand there and have someone be really critical or nasty and have it just roll right off, because I can say that says more about you than it says about me. And what you're saying just either isn't true or it just doesn't bother me.
And I don't remember who it was. We talked about it on the show, but it was maybe Valerie Bertinelli. I listen to a lot of different people. You choose not to receive it.
Right. You choose not to receive it.
Just choose not to receive it. You just, that's okay. You can hand it out, but I'm not taking it. I'm not.
Right.
Interested.
Thank you very much. And I'm going on with my day.
That's amazing. So for me, it was the triggers thing. Everybody's heard this story where the first person that told me that triggers that were about me and not about the other person. And I wanted to smack her upside her head. I literally want to hit her so bad. And then as I gained some wisdom through this journey, I was like, oh, I get it. Those triggers, when you get triggered, it's somebody's poking at a wound, and it hurts. But then there's also this. stupid people really trigger me bad. So I don't really know how to wrap
Do they
that
Navigate,
trigger
around.
yeah.
you? Because to me, triggering is like activating something within you that kind of needs to be investigated. I think they just annoy you. I don't know that they trigger
I don't
you.
know because I want to punch them, so I would call that
Well, me
trigger, right?
too.
Well, that's kind of the
I don't
definition
think
of
that's
being annoyed.
triggered though. I think you might
Well,
just be
I think
annoyed with
that's
them.
semantics, right? Like
Yeah,
I
right.
think
Yeah.
that's
Right.
semantics. But
Yeah.
the point is that the more healing you do on your own, and this is it, balanced energy is non-reactive.
Right.
When my energy is out of balance, or when I am using a considerable reserve of my energy to create a boundary that's unusual or troublesome, then my reactions show it. That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My reactions show it. So that's the way that is. How about you, Melanie?
For me, I think it's how surprising. What surprised me was how shockingly easy it is to forgive and to not be so. You did this to me. Um, do you know what I mean? It's like okay,
Letting
it
go of a
almost
grudge.
like yeah, and like you can see where they were coming from, and you can see what hurt and wounding they were coming from. And you're like, okay, that's them, not me, and I think that's kind of that takes some wisdom and some growth too, is to be like, okay, they weren't doing it to me, it's just them.
Oh yeah, boy, I'll
Because I
tell you what.
think yeah, when a lot of times when somebody does something wrong, it's like, oh, you hurt me. No, they did hurt, but it wasn't something to me. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying
I
it terribly, but
absolutely no,
it's
no. I
their
get it because
thing.
I mean, I have a father who suffered terrible PTSD from being in World War II, and it took
Yeah.
me. I mean, the man was long dead before I even understood,
Yeah.
what that was all about. But you said something else that's really, I think, we need to. I think that wisdom is one of the things that brings this to light, is that nothing is really happening to us,
Right.
and it would be really good if we could realize that, that, and a
Mhm.
good majority of the things that happen are because of us, right? Because of what we're attracting. You walk in a
Mhm.
store loaded for bear, you're going to find a bear,
Yep.
right? Like, and that's
Yep.
the easiest example of that kind of, walking around in that vibrational state, right? You walk in angry, you're going to find something to be angry about. If you
Mhm.
walk
Yep.
in smiling and happy, you're going to be met with that. And that just is
Mhm.
what it is. So,
Mhm.
Mhm.
the universe, there's all these things that seem, like that are a struggle between the ego, and the etheric self. Like, the universe wants to give you what you want. You just have to be open to receive it, or all the affirmations they have, and that you hear about. And it's like, I think when you're younger, you look at it and you go, well, that's like believing in magic. And
Right.
my parents told me not to believe in Santa Claus anymore. So PS, I still believe in Santa Claus, by the way, but that's just me. But isn't it interesting that, the very thing that would make it so the universe can give you everything that you want, and that everything that is yours, because I think that's something we forget about too. When we're young, we think we just want everything. And then as we get older and gain more wisdom, we'll realize, oh, that's why that wasn't made available to me, because it would have been no good. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that, I don't know. That's kind of what I think about that.
Yeah.
I think one other piece that was really a revelation to me as I got older is the whole idea of judgment.
Mm.
When if I'm judgmental, that's projecting my beliefs on someone else. You need to
Mhm.
do this. Wait a second. No, I'm not, I don't want to be judgmental. I'm not going to be judgmental because you do you. I'm going to go be over here, take care of me. And for me to judge someone else, that's like getting in their business, as Byron Katie says. And if I'm in their business, then there's no one over here manning my business.
And there's no reason for you to believe that somebody shouldn't be in your business. If it's okay for you to be in their business, it's okay for somebody to be in your business, right? Like,
Right.
to me, that's that two-way, that
Yep.
what you put out is what you bring back to yourself.
100%.
It's really
And the only
interesting
way to
that
clear it is I'm not going to be in your business, and you can try, but you can't really be in mine either.
And so in my work, when I teach neutral state, if we do breath work, it's I breathe out judgment, I breathe in acceptance.
Love
I
it.
breathe out judgment, I
Love
breathe
that.
in acceptance.
Mhm.
And if it's a hard place to get where you just accept, right?
Mhm.
I don't deserve that, and I don't need to be treated this way, and who do you think,
Right.
like all
Right.
of those things. And
Or look what they're doing to those other people, right? Right? You get
yeah.
all hot and bothered about what's happening over there, and you get judgmental about something. And if you can go like, you know what, it's maybe it's not what should be happening, but the judgment needs to go.
Well, it does, because it's counter.
Yeah.
It's counter to the remedy for the judgment coming from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Judging back, it's counter to the remedy for that.
Yep.
Oh, that was good. I like that.
Somebody write that down.
Yeah, right? Like,
I hope this is being recorded. Oh, it is.
Yeah, me too.
oh. Yes, your judgment is counter to the remedy for the judgment of others. Oh my goodness, that's great. Interesting. Just never know what you're gonna get.
That's what makes us fun.
I know, right? Anyway, okay, so I think that anything else on that one? Because I got a couple
I think
more.
that's a big one for me, though, is realizing that. So that's
So, and Coventina, I would invite you to answer this one I know you're listening. I would invite you to, and whoever else is also listening, I would love to hear the answer to this. If you could go back to your younger self and tell them one thing, and I want to limit it to the acquisition of wisdom, this sort of spiritual journey. You know what I mean? Like keep it in context, not buy stock in Yahoo.
Right.
That's not what I'm looking for here. You know what I mean? Like, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing when you were younger, what would it be?
I'll go. I would say you are worthy of so much more.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing your story, I think that's and so what would it take for your younger self to believe that?
Age and time and wisdom,
Right.
because I wouldn't have believed it. That's the thing. I would not have believed it then. I would have been like, no, I'm not, know.
But what it would have done is planted a seed.
Mm-hmm.
If just one person would have said that to you, right?
Yeah.
It would have planted a seed.
So I think looking back to adolescence, I think it would have been, it's really, really, really okay to be weird, to be nonconformist, to be nonconformist, right?
I love that.
And I had my group of like 2 friends, which is awesome, but feeling like always, there's the popular people over there, and I'm not part of that group. There's something wrong. I'm not doing something right, and it's okay to be, not like everybody else.
And what's interesting about that is, and I don't spend a lot of time, I don't like melancholy. I don't like reminiscing. I don't like really looking backwards. However, because of Facebook. Oh, that's a good one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a good one, Coventina. We'll get to that in a second. But a good number, because of the magic of Facebook and the ability to reconnect with a lot of people, that you haven't seen for 40 years. Those popular people aren't all the SHIT, if you know what I mean. A lot of them are not doing well. A lot of them
Right.
are opioid addicts or, you know,
Alcoholics.
Kind of stuck in a boring job selling,
Yeah.
you know,
right,
insurance, and
life.
they're just kind of making ends meet.
right, exactly.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, the ones that I really thought had the world by the cojones back in the day, they just don't.
Mhm.
Not only that, but when you tell them that, you know, that you did, they don't, no, I didn't. They don't want to hear it, which I find
Right.
very, very
Right.
interesting, you know,
The
like,
denial.
so yeah, so that's interesting. Now, for me, I would want to go back and help my younger self figure out how to manage energy and how to, you know, how to not be so reactive. I mean, I just shut it down. You know, when I woke up at 2:30 in the morning the night my mother died, that I was like, oh, I don't want any part of this. And I
Mhm.
just, and so because of that, I became so reactive to energy. I mean, I was kind of famous for that. Like I couldn't keep my mouth shut in big meetings, and I was always reacting to the energy in the room. So I would want myself to know and understand how to balance energy, because balanced energy is resilient energy, and resilient energy is less reactive. That's what I would want to tell people. So now Coventina says, do not listen to others when they said I'm not psychic, I'm psycho. So I stopped counseling others with my innate wisdom.
Mm.
I mean, that's
they made her shut it down.
well, and that's a story I hear all the time. And I don't know in her case, but in many cases, when I have the conversation with a client, generally, you know what the next answer is, you know, or what's involved with that, right? The religion.
Mhm.
I guess I'll
The
just say
R
it that
word.
way. Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, you know, so many people, and what's interesting is that because I've run across a lot of people in my practice, generally I shift them off to other people, you know, people that do trauma work or shadow
Mhm.
work, you know, because that's just not my thing. But when you shut down those abilities, they begin to reassert themselves at some point in your life. They just do. And so doing that to a child, you're not doing them any favors. And I'm here to tell you that just because a child sees dead people does not mean they're going to HE double toothpicks. You know, I mean, it's just sad. There's that judgment again, right?
Yeah.
And the
Right.
judgment is damaging to the
Yeah.
other person.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Wow.
Some of my favorite stories are stories from some of the, you know, the more successful or popular psychics who say, "Oh yeah, you know, in my family, my grandmother was a psychic, and they encouraged it in the family." I'm like, "Wow, you are so fortunate to have that support when you were younger, and you know, helping you develop that ability in you."
Right. Or at least manage it. I mean,
Yep.
I've run across people with, you know, children who were obviously, you know, connected in some way. They could sense energy, they could see spirits, whatever it may be. And they were taking steps to help the child understand that, no, you are in charge of this.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You are in charge. They're not in charge. You're in charge. And you know, because kids get afraid, right?
Mhm.
Like, and so it's just an interesting. There are just so many ways to look at it, and so many people out there telling people how these things should be handled and managed,
Mhm.
and they're not all the same. And I would venture a guess that a lot of them aren't even correct. And a lot of them are disempowering people. Like these things are happening because you are an amazing, infinite, etheric being here for human experience. And when you're a child, you are still heavily connected to that etheric that etheric space.
Hmm.
Very not much, not like you are when you're an adult. When you're a child, you have more of a connection to that when you're a child. And then adults, especially young ones, in their ultimate wisdom, um, teach it and schedule it and admonish it out of the kids, right?
Hmm.
And it's
Right.
just sad. I mean,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
just sad.
They shame it out of them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's not what it was. But what I didn't realize, because I told you the story about the milk. Like
Yeah.
if we needed milk or bread, and my mother would send my father a message, I swear, and he would come home with it. Like this is in the 60s. There were no cell phones. He was an electrician. He was not in an office where there was a telephone. And, he would come home with it. That's the way I saw it, at least.
I know. I love
Have
that.
been
That's
another
one of my
step,
favorite stories, actually.
But when I would say things like, well, why doesn't your mom just send your dad a message? And then
You're like,
naturally,
huh?
yeah, I mean, that's, you're weird. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
kids can be so cruel. So,
Yep.
it either at home you're shown it's not, either at home you're
Appropriate.
shown it's not appropriate, or
At
you're
school.
shown it's appropriate at home, and then when you go to school because you think it's appropriate, the kids make fun of you, so it's not like it's a double-edged sword,
Yeah. I
right?
hadn't
It
thought
catch
about that
22.
part. That's even.
Which is what my kids are struggling with. Because it's like
Right.
I'm teaching them all this stuff, and then they're like, "Oh, your mom's a witch." It's like,
It's like, yeah, and
right, yeah, but what does that have to do with anything? Like, no, but it really is. It's tough for a kid who's still connected. So yeah.
It's sadly, it's really funny because we talk about this being one of the best times to be in this kind of business.
Mhm.
I mean, there were for certainly 30 years ago we couldn't be talking like this.
Mm-mm.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's many things we wouldn't be able to do, but the problem that I'm seeing, and if I hear this word woke one more time, I just
Yes,
don't know what I'm
I
going
hate
to
that
do.
word.
I do too.
But the problem is, it's the darkness fighting back.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That's what that
Exactly.
is. It's the darkness fighting
Mhm.
back.
As
And
things start to
so-
open up, the other side is
Mhm.
gonna, the non-woke, non-awakened side is gonna push back against it even harder. I
Right.
think we're gonna see it more in the, until it gets.
Yeah. And if you look at like astrologically and stuff, they're really kind of not calling for this to ease up into like 2026.
Okay.
Mhm.
I heard something in
Um,
that 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but I'm here to tell you, the more of us that turn the lights on, the cockroaches are going to run back under the refrigerator. I'm just saying.
Sending you
yeah.
all love and
mean,
light.
that's all we got. Okay. So
Yep.
let's see. All right. Now this is funny. How has your sense of humor or playfulness shifted as you've grown in wisdom and experience?
Mhm.
And I think for me, it's just showing it. John, you're freaking hilarious. Period.
Thank you. I'll tell you something though. I was really cynical. Funny. I mean, I enjoyed joking around with my friends, but up until I guess what I would call my awakening, I was really, really, really cynical towards everything. Very, very sarcastic. Somewhat bitter, I guess, towards life and so on, and that all melted away when I realized the joy that I have and can have, just by being alive.
Mhm.
I can feel you on that one. I mean, because
Mhm.
I was one of my favorite things was, don't do that because I can eat you for lunch. and it was the truth.
Hmm.
It was the truth. I mean, it was the truth. Now, and so, but here's something really interesting, just because it came to me today. Before we came on, I was in Radley Valentine's fairy class. He was doing a 3-day fairy like webinar.
Mhm.
And today he had Karen Kay, who is
Oh,
from
I
the
saw
UK.
that. I saw
She's
that.
amazing.
I can only
But
imagine.
she was just saying how the fairies, many of them, are truth tellers. And they kind of just tell the truth and don't really care how you feel about it. And I was
Like,
like, dang,
Angie's
I'm
going
a
like, that
fairy.
explains everything.
I am a fairy. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
So
Well, good. Now we've got a nice little package to put it in.
yeah,
That's
right.
hilarious.
Like, I mean, why not? Like,
Right.
I'm a Libra with an Aquarius rising fairy.
And purple hair. So, right? It all
Which-
fits.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards pink for the next time, but we'll see.
Perfect.
Anyway, yeah. So I think when it comes to the idea of playfulness and your sense of humor and everything, I think a lot of it can really be that, it's about how you put yourself out into the world, what you show the world,
Yeah.
right?
The joy is definitely there that wasn't before.
And how about this? There are things that I found funny years ago, slapstick, although I still laugh at people shooting off of the treadmills. I can't help it. Well, that's funny. Come on now. That's like
hilarious.
Stupid. It's hilarious, right? But I mean, like slapstick or, jokes at other people's expense.
Mm-hmm.
There are some comedians that are still funny. Some of them are just too much at other people's expense. And that makes me very uncomfortable. I mean, it literally makes me uncomfortable.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't like jokes at other people's expense, but I'm still okay with slapstick as long as, again, it doesn't hurt anyone. But yeah, my kids are like, Mom, you're so weird, because I will just dance in the kitchen and, get them to like, I'm always joking and laughing and finding the fun in whatever. They're like, Mom, why are you so silly all the time? And I'm like, why are you so serious all the time?
Mhm.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Spread
and I
the
think
love.
that keeps us young.
I mean, I totally agree with you on that, right? Like, I mean, that is one of the things that totally keeps us young. And it's so important. I mean, laughter, they're not kidding.
Yeah, Valentine is talking about being sarcastic too. She says, I have to put my filter on with new clients because it goes straight to the core of what they're having issues with. And I've always had a really sarcastic sense of humor. Like, yep, you kind of have to, tailor that a little bit. And I think when you're with friends who know that you're not serious, you can be sarcastic there.
Yeah.
When I go into a new group, I like feel them out, and I'm like, okay, are they going to be able to take me? And if the minute I feel like they can, then I'll let it out. And they're like, oh my God, you're hilarious.
Well, you know what's funny with that is that I think a lot of people would look at that as like a new group, like requiring you to monitor yourself or whatever. I don't want to monitor myself. But the truth is, I don't mind that so much. Reading the room and acting appropriate in the room, because that's how you get the most out of the experience.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know there's people that can't take me. That's what it is. I know it.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. There's just, but when the circumstances warrant it, I am capable. I saw a video and it said, you are 100% responsible for making yourself do the things you don't want to do. It's nobody else. You are, and so sometimes you don't want to put your sword down, but you have to. You know what I mean? And you have to be responsible. You have to be responsible for that. Now, do we learn that differently as we're growing? I mean, I think that entitled parents raise entitled children, and I think that's
Yep.
kind of where bullies come from.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff, about wisdom, I think is generational. It's kind of funny. I see people, especially people older than me, going one of two directions. One is the wisdom, but the other is kind of like the bitter and the world is out to get me.
Yep.
And I think there has to be a point in someone's life where you realize, kind of what we're talking about, where the wisdom starts to set in, and then you can kind of lean into that. If you don't get that point in your life, then then maybe it's the bitterness that kind of takes over. And there's some really crazy things that older people do and say due to that bitterness and anger.
So, I mean, I think that speaks to something we brought up in the beginning, right? Is that bitterness brings more to be bitter about.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what is that? You either get better or you get bitter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've just never been one to hold grudges. However, I will cut you loose faster than 0 to 60.
Right. That's your solution to someone who, the proverbial toxic person.
Right.
You're not going to hold a bridge, but you're like, we're done.
Yeah. And so it's really interesting, in kind of preparing or thinking about what we're going to talk about. I saw another video today, and it was Tyler Perry. And he said that not everybody that comes into your life is meant to be there forever.
Yep.
Some that come through are meant to be there for a minute or an hour. And of course, paraphrasing, for a short time. Maybe they're not meant to be there for a long time. He said, think of it like a rocket, going into space where it has the boosters. And then when it gets up into space, the boosters fall away. So some people are just meant to come in through your life, as boosters. And I think that if everybody could develop that kind of wisdom and say, I'm not cutting you loose out of malice, I'm not, there's nothing malicious. It's about what I am and am not willing to do and tolerate in my own life, and whether or not you are contributing to it or not. And if you're not, no harm, no foul. But
Bye.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Time to.
One of my clients was talking about, she was telling me a story about someone that she was having trouble with. And she says, don't go away mad.
Just go away.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
Do you really? Oh, I hadn't.
Yeah, I do. I do.
I was just dying. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, that although in my days in the restaurants, it was you don't have to go home, you just have to go.
Yeah.
You don't have to go home, you just have to go.
Right.
Bye. So
Bye.
Anyway, I can't believe the 40 minutes is damn near gone already.
Holy cow.
Oh my
it's
goodness.
just
We just got
crazy.
started.
So what is a final nugget of wisdom?
I'll tell you something I learned from,
Somebody.
from the Chinese. The Chinese say, as your life progresses, it's kind of like a rock. At the beginning, it's a sharp stone, and it's got lots of, sharp edges, and it's kind of out there, and as the water works away at that stone, it becomes a little smoother and rounder as time goes on, and that's kind of buffing off your sharp edges and becoming a little more wise. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Like as the water, like river rock, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yep.
I love
Mhm.
that. I have a stack and a can of gold spray paint. That's my extent of feng shui, by the way. Stack of river rocks and gold spray paint for the, rocks in the front door to invite
Yeah.
abundance.
Abundance.
Yeah.
I have a money tree in the corner of my house. That's the extent of mine.
I have a money tree too, but for me, absolutely the most effective thing has been the financial freedom grid. Like
Mhm.
since I've had that, there's just never been. There's always been something came up, something happened, something, you know.
I'm going
Speaking
to
of
have to
that,
get some notes on that, Ange.
Yeah, we'll have
there's
to
a
sidebar.
video on it on the channel. Oh, maybe it's not on this channel. No, I think it is on this channel. I'll find it.
Okay.
I made a video on how I created it and what's in it and everything.
Ooh.
Perfect.
So I will
Yeah,
find
look
it.
at
Everybody, the listeners will probably want to know about it too. If it's not on this channel, then I'll download it and upload it and put it on this one. Anyway, for me, wisdom is just, it's not that serious. None of it's that serious. It's just not that serious. Like
Life is not that serious, right?
No, right? And I heard again another video, and it was Willie Nelson. And he said, we're all doing okay. I have a roof, you have a roof. I got food, you have food. So for now, for this minute, we're okay. And that's really what you have is now. He's talking
Yeah.
he's talking like where did it go? What's his name? John, come on. The Power of Now. What's his name?
Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, Eckhart
That's
Tolle.
that
Yeah.
Eckhart Tolle, yeah. Sounding just like that. That's what you
actually
have
he has
is
a
the
quote.
now.
He has a story with that exact situation in it. How are you right now?
Yeah,
right
right.
now, you're fine.
And I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Right
so
now, you're fine. And if you can be fine right now, you can be fine in the next minute.
now and the next
and the next and the next. Yeah. I mean, it's that's
takes the worry out of it.
Oh, and then the other thing I would do is I would tell myself the world's not going to end in 1984, 1987, or 1992, like all those kooks were trying to tell you. And
or 1999 or 2012.
Oh, by then I wasn't worried about it. By then I didn't believe it.
Right. A lot of people did though.
Yeah, a lot of people did. By that, when I watched them people walking around in 1999, oh my God, Y2K. I'm like, oh, you guys, you people, come on now. But to me, that's the beginning of the sort of spreading of fear consciousness. Seriously.
Yep. In a big way. Huge.
Yeah. Yeah. The advent of the internet. Anyway,
mine would be you stole mine of don't worry about the small things. So I guess the other thing would be just be better, not bitter, I guess. I don't know. Like it's not that big of a deal. It's all, don't worry about the small stuff. It's all small stuff. It's like, don't worry about anything.
Coventina says, when people ask me what time it is, I say now.
Yeah.
That's lovely. I mean,
and then I say, time for you to get a watch, which my kids hate. Right. But I say that just to be a jerk.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff that I don't really find funny anymore.
Well, it makes me laugh. It makes no one else laugh.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that's laughing at other people's expense.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose. You put it that way, I suppose.
I don't know. I have very specific and crazy ideas about how a lot of things work. Don't give me a straw. I don't use paper plates. My paper towels are bamboo. I don't believe you should hit a kid because I think you're teaching them to respond to situations with violence.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't go out the indoor.
Oh, God, no. Oh, my God, no. You absolutely cannot go out the indoor or in the outdoor. You can't. Like, oh, my. Once, did I talk about the time that the indoor was broken?
Right.
We were at Walmart. The indoor was broken, and only the outdoor was working. My husband put his hand on the back, on the center of my back, and he said, "It's okay. We're going to go this way." And he didn't push me, but he's like, "No, it's okay. We can go in this way." Because he felt it. He knew. I was like, but when he saw me walk around that building 4 times, well, the door said exit. It did not say enter. It said exit only. I was like,
you were following the rules.
That's what I do.
Right.
Isn't it funny that I
Do you
am a
have
rule
Capricorn
follower.
in your chart? That's such a Capricorn thing.
Yeah,
I
no,
am
I'm
strictly
no
Capricorn. I have like
Aries and Aquarius, and I don't know.
5 things in Capricorn.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't know. Ask Lisa. Anyway, yeah, it's just I don't know. I can't. Like I'm sorry. That's why I like taxes. Everybody's like, oh, you must love numbers. I like numbers, but taxes are not about numbers.
They're about
Taxes are
rules.
They're about rules. Yeah.
All about rules. Yeah, that's me too, Coventina. Aquarius rising. I think.
I'm a Scorpio rising.
Aquarius something. Oh well. Anyway, all right. Well, that's it. 45 minutes. I can't believe it. So that's it for today. Starting next week, I think we're gonna start doing some more. Go back to shameless plugs and stuff like that. Start shaking things up a little bit. I've got some people that are interested in coming on, and we're looking at some shorts and some things. We're looking to shake things up a little bit again. So we're just going to do that for now. And for today, if you've been here all the way and you have not hit that red subscribe button, please do that.
It's right over there. Right?
Somewhere.
Right there.
Somewhere.
And I think, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, if you hit the notifications, won't you get some kind of, hit the little bell, don't you get some kind of notification?
You'll notified anytime we post.
Yeah, so I don't really know where those notifications show up, to be honest with you, but it is what it is.
A man that shows up at your door with one.
Knock, knock, knock. Oh, well, my door says no solicitors. Oh gosh, that's funny. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you, soon.
Bye.